Hello? Your Health is Calling, where holistic health meets practical solutions for your well-being. With your host, speaker, New York Times bestselling author, Sue Kostyk, a seasoned holistic health practitioner and longevity coach. Join Sue each week to embark on a journey to uncover the root causes of your health concerns. Through a personalized approach, learn how to decode the messages your body is sending and craft natural protocols to address them. Call in live at 888-994-4995 Studio A.
Good morning and welcome to Hello, Your Health is Calling. I'm Sue Kostyk. I'm an integrative health practitioner, and what an integrative health practitioner does is we dive deep into root cause. And we do this through functional lab testing, we do this through diet, exercise, and nutrition, and we just dive deep into the reasons why you're having the symptoms you're having. And instead of putting a Band-Aid on the symptom, we recognize the symptom and we just really try to figure out why you're having them. Because symptoms mean something. Your body is calling you. Hello, your health is calling. The reason for the name of this podcast. So we've been on a journey, and last week we talked about mental health, and we did talk about stress and how it impacts our mental health as well. And a few weeks ago, well, several weeks ago actually, we were going through Dr. Cabral's de-stress protocol. And it's an acronym for several different things. And one of the S's in de-stress is for stress reduction. And I want to revisit stress because I think everybody knows it exists. I mean, how can you be a part of this world and not understand that there is stress out there? But a lot of times it's pushed under the carpet. We don't treat it as it's meant to be. And some of us actually wear stress as a badge of honor. How many times have we just I'm so stressed out, and we don't necessarily take the action that's needed to manage it. There is no way that we will eliminate stress from our lives. It's not possible. And stress is actually an important part of our makeup because there is a hormone called cortisol that is released when we feel stress. And that hormone is what puts us in that fight or flight. It's what helps us to get through the stress. And the problem is because we haven't been taught how to manage our stress or how to do some of the things to support our bodies through the stress, we stay in that really high fight or flight state for too long. And the cortisol keeps doing what it's meant to do, but our bodies are not meant to stay in that. So as we start talking about stress and the effects it has on us, it's really important to understand that, unmanaged stress and staying in stress is really the root cause, the underlying root cause, or the factor in just about every underlying autoimmune issue or disease that we are now coming up against. And so I want to just kind of give you an example, and it's my personal story. And I'll make a long story short, just so you can kind of have a baseline of what I'm talking about. So when my youngest daughter, she's now 18, but when she was 5, she was diagnosed with leukemia. And that diagnosis puts your whole family in a tailspin. Your life stops. You pretty much move forward in a constant stress situation. There's no way that you can't. And this is a drastic example, but it's a good illustration because her diagnosis, the treatment was 3 years. So I, as her mother, and pretty much my life just went towards helping her get through this and making sure that she survived, because sometimes it is the outcome is not so positive as hers was. She's 18, she's thriving, she's going off to college, everything is great. But moving back to that 3 years of my life and me, prior to that, I was in peak condition. I was in the gym 5 days a week. I was doing boot camp. I was doing spinning. My diet was perfect. So I literally had the building blocks to handle this kind of stress, but I didn't know then what I know now. So I stopped going to the gym. I soothed with food. Wine was pretty much a nightly ritual. And then, taking ibuprofen to ward off the effects of drinking wine at night the next day. So I was creating in myself this perfect storm. And when my daughter went into remission 2.5 years later, I was relieved, obviously. And so then I felt like normal life could start to resume. So I got back into some better habits, but the damage had been done. And all of a sudden, I was 30 pounds heavier. I was pre-diabetic. My chart said I was obese. They wanted to put me on blood pressure medication. And so this is just an example of what can happen over time. So what I'm talking about is more of an internal oxidative stress that my body went through, because not only was I under an outward source of stress, but I was creating an oxidative stress. So that is basically how I found integrative health, because I kind of knew better. I knew that I didn't want to need to go on medications, because I knew that my lifestyle had changed drastically over the last 2.5 years. So I started researching and trying to figure things out. So that's where I'm going to move forward in our talk after our break. And we'll talk about the things that I found and, the things that you can do also. So we'll take a quick break, and then we'll come back and I'll give you the solutions that I found.
Hello? Your health is calling. Feeling bloated, low on energy, dealing with hormone imbalances? Integrative health coach Sue Kostyk is here to assist you. Reach out to Sue for practical health solutions guided by her professional training as a holistic coach. Sue specializes in identifying the underlying causes of health issues and restoring balance. Don't let your health concerns impact your well-being. Contact Sue Kostyk today at 917-362-5176 or via email at sue@symmetryhealthandwellness.com, and take the first step towards a healthier, happier you.
You've been watching Hello, Your Health is Calling. Join me as we dive into the realms of longevity, nutrition, stress management, and toxin removal, all without the use of harsh pharmaceuticals. And now, back to the show.
Okay, welcome back. So I gave you the brief part of my story and what got me to the point that I was, where the doctors wanted to put me on medications, and I found integrative health. So backing up to stress and what stress does on the body, there is a gut-brain relationship. And way early on in the beginning of the podcast, we talked about how our gut and our brain need to talk and be besties and all that. And so what happens when you don't manage your stress and it starts to manifest in your gut, basically, because of the hormone that is constantly being released into your body, the cortisol. So I use this term all the time. We rob Peter to pay Paul until Peter has nothing left to give. And that's when we start experiencing symptoms. It could be hormone disruption. It could be an autoimmune situation. It could be type 2 diabetes. It could be anxiety. It could be depression. I mean, there's so many things that happen when our brain and our gut quit talking. And we start to have inflammation, and inflammation sends that signal to your brain that something's wrong. And then your brain sends a signal back saying, oh, you need to be anxious, or you need to be fatigued, or have brain fog, or these things just start to manifest. And like I said earlier when we started the podcast, that, stress is really the underlying root cause or factor for just about every disease that we have known to man. And the name of the disease is just really, a name that it's being put to a handful of symptoms. So, what can we do? We've heard the term leaky gut. When the symptoms start, we just start to mask them with drugs. And like I said earlier, symptoms tell us that something is wrong. And I like to liken it to our check engine light on our car. My daughter, who had the leukemia, she was a new driver. She was 16, and she called me panicking one day, and she's like, "Mom, the check engine light just went on in the car. What do I do?" So, I ran out, and we quickly, you do all the things. You open the gas tank and, seal it again. You turn the motor on and off. You lay hands on your car and pray over it. I don't know, whatever you do to just get that check engine light to turn off. And there is a statistic that about 70% of us do continue to drive around with that check engine light on, just hoping and praying that it's not going to stop on the freeway or at the next stoplight. So, kudos to that 30% that, run into the mechanic to check it out. But honestly, I make light of it, but that's kind of what we do with our bodies. Our symptoms are just like the check engine light. It's telling us something. So, instead of just hoping and praying and, maybe taking that, what do? We get over the counter heartburn medication. We, maybe cut down on the sugar a little bit if our sugars are getting too high. But honestly, how do you know if you're getting better if you just keep putting a Band-Aid on things or masking it? So what we do in integrative health is we do functional lab testing. And functional lab testing versus conventional, there is a difference. Conventional that you would just get through your doctor, we do get data. So I'm not saying it's not worth it to go to your doctor and get labs done. We do get good data. But there are some functional lab tests that dive a little bit deeper, and some a lot deeper, into what's really going on. And then we can compare different labs. Like, I will typically run 2 to 3, sometimes 5 different labs on my clients because of their symptoms and what's going on in their life. Because, lab work doesn't lie. I could sit there and have a conversation with you for 30 minutes going over your symptoms and what's going on and take a very educated guess. But wouldn't it be better to dive deep into labs to figure out exactly what's going on? And so, that's what we do when we figure out where your hormone levels are. We figure out, there's a test that tests your stress response. If you are someone who is under a lot of stress, we do a hair test that will test your minerals that are vital in the response to stress. And a lot of times what we find is there is very little of those minerals left. And so while you are still under the same amount of stress, like I said before, remember, we robbed Peter to pay Paul. And so when you start to run out of those minerals, your body is not able to respond to that stress. And so what we do is we just support you with additional minerals and stuff. But, heavy metals also has a huge stress response on your body. A lot of people suffer from allergies, arthritis, anxiety, and a lot of times that is the cause of heavy metals in your bloodstream. So it's important to find out if you have these or not. There's so many symptoms that I could cover, but really it's all about finding the root cause. and getting to the mechanic and, figuring out what you can do. There's absolutely no reason why anyone should be walking through this life struggling with health issues and being told by their Western medical doctor that it's just something they have to live with. That's just not the case. Unless you have something that's super acute, cancers or, something that is acute and does require hospitalization and, some drug intervention. If it's chronic, then we can fix it. Everything's fixable. And when I went through the de-stress protocol, it is a very good starting point for anyone who's interested in starting on a functional level way of just getting rid of some of that toxicity in your body. And if you would like to have more information on it, you can send an email to support@hello, your health is calling, and I'll get in touch with me and we'll walk through it. My website, symmetryhealthandwellness.com. There is actually detoxes on there that we can do. I told you that I would let you know of the solutions. And the solution that I found after doing some functional medicine lab work, we found that I had bacteria overgrowth. We found that I had heavy metals. And we found that my omegas, so I don't want to throw out a lot of science terms here, but your omegas, there's another test that tests your inflammation. And if your omega-3 is not balanced with your omega-6, then you're going to have a lot of inflammation. So that's another way that we test. And a lot of people who have inflammatory diseases, we want to test your inflammation level. And so, I found all these things, and then I was guided through different protocols that got rid of the bacteria overgrowth. Now, if you are under a lot of stress, outward stress like work stress, family stress, relationship stress, you are likely always in fight or flight. So always having that cortisol is creating a super big imbalance in your gut biome. So you always have bacteria, parasites, yeast, fungus, all those things in your gut, but you want to have a really good balance with them all. And when that starts to go out of balance, then you get what's called leaky gut. And I'm sure a lot of people have heard about that. But leaky gut, so many times in conventional medicine, is treated with antibiotics. And so while the antibiotic gets rid of bacteria, it's also going to mess up with your balance because it's getting rid of everything. So what we do is we do a 3-month protocol that gets rid of the bad bacteria and then rebalances your gut microbiome so that everything is balanced and your gut can close up again and you're not getting all those proteins and bacteria into your bloodstream. So that's what I did, and there is no longer any high blood pressure issues. There is no longer any pre-diabetic issues, and the weight came off. And so while a lot of people maybe start thinking that these kind of things are good for weight loss, they are, because literally inflammation is, it leads to, adding on that fat, because when our body is in a fight or flight situation and our liver can't work and can't get the toxins out, the safest place for your body to hide toxins is in fat, in a fat cell. Then it fills it up with water and it's really safe in there. And so what the idea behind a lot of these functional medicine protocols are to release all of the toxicity and everything from your body so those fat cells get small again. And then people automatically lose weight. A lot of people don't try, but once they go through a protocol or a functional medicine detox, then all of a sudden they're 10, 20, 30 pounds lighter because there's not that toxicity. And that is what stress will do to you. it will create an environment for your body to hold on to all that toxicity. And so, getting back to stress and managing stress, besides trying to find ways of balance, maybe setting boundaries, depending on where your stress is coming from. I work with a lot of people who have intense jobs, and there is just so much stress around their job. And again, it's your livelihood, and I get it. You can't not do your job. So, what do? You support with supplements. Part of our de-stress protocol is supplementation. And it's not just walking into your CVS, Walgreens, Costco, and picking up a bottle of vitamins off of the shelf. It's again finding what you are deficient in and supplementing that. So not only do we do protocols to remove excess, we also find out through testing what you're deficient in. And when we can start supporting the deficiencies that are caused through stress, your minerals that helps your body support or helps support your body through stress is calcium, magnesium, sodium, and potassium. And so many times when we are in a constant stress situation, we use all of our stores up. And we can't get those minerals through our food sources anymore because our soils are just so bad. And that's like another podcast for another day. So we do need to supplement. And there's some really easy ways to do that. So supplementing yourself through stress and building up the stores of the minerals that help you is one of the ways that I work with people who are really under a lot of stress. And, suggesting different modalities, if you are spiritual, prayer, meditation, taking mindful times for yourself and just lowering your brainwaves, even if it's for 10 minutes. There's, I have a reset journal that my clients go through. And there's a page for every day that you check some things off. And there's the rule called the 50-10 rule, the 5-0-10 rule. And for every 50 minutes that you are working or you're sitting at your desk doing something, you need to take 10 minutes off. And if you can't get outside, then maybe you can take a walk around, or even just taking a minute, shutting your eyes, turning off your screen. Take 10 minutes out of an hour. So many people put in, 12, 14-hour work days, and they never shut down. So you get to the end of your day, and it's called tired and wired, and you are so exhausted, but you can't sleep. That's because you've not allowed your body to come down. So taking that time, shut off your phone, your iPad, your laptop, your computer, at least 1 hour before you go to bed. And if you tell me you're wearing blue light blockers, and it's okay, it's not, because you're still engaging your mind. You're not allowing your mind to come down. Our nervous system is divided by sympathetic and parasympathetic. Our sympathetic nervous system is what's on all day long. It's snapping constantly. Our parasympathetic is that lower, that rest and relax. So engaging in that, dry brushing is a really good way to just alleviate, get that parasympathetic nervous system. Dry sauna, infrared sauna, red light therapy, all those things are things that you can do to help lower your nervous system. Yoga, not power yoga, doing restorative yoga, really, really good for lowering your nervous system. Taking a warm shower at night before you go to bed. Anything that you can do. There's supplementation that you can do to help you sleep. Sleep is super important if you lead a very stressful life, because that's the only time you have to repair. Your liver needs to go through all of its detoxification, your brain needs to heal, you need to get your deep sleep, you need to get your REM sleep. So there's so many things that I can help and suggest with. And again, any questions, get in touch with me. Support at Hello, Your Health is Calling. My website, you can book a complimentary appointment on symmetryhealthandwellness.com. There's so many ways that you can get help to help manage yourself through stressful things. Now, if you feel like you are one of these people that you are too far gone and you're starting to feel signs of those autoimmune situations, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, those are all responses to stress, and they are all things that can be managed. So there's never no hope out there. There's never not a way that we can help. Just bring that stress level down and not let it get so far that you all of a sudden have an acute situation, because there are certain types of cancers that are now known for being brought on by stress, because it just tears your body down. Stress will be named as the number one killer. Mark my words. It will be known soon. The medical community is already calling it out. They're already telling people they need to manage their stress, but not giving any real life ways that you can actually do it. So, if there's anything that I can actually, if there's one thing that you can grasp from this today, is take an assessment. I actually also have a stress assessment that you can take. It's complimentary. Again, just reach out to me at support at Hello, Your Health is Calling, or on my website, symmetryhealthandwellness.com. You can take a simple assessment. I have a stress one, and I also have a toxicity assessment, and you can take it and figure it out, and then we can work together for solutions to help you so that you don't get into these situations. And I talked about earlier oxidative stress, and oxidative stress is one of those things that is not talked about in the medical community, because it really is a more of an integrative health and Eastern medicine topic. But oxidative stress is what happens to the inside of your body when you have a virus, or you have to go on antibiotics to kill some bacteria because you've gotten ill. So getting rid of the effects of having to go on antibiotics or steroids or whatever, oxidative stress is one of the leading things to autoimmune situations, because it really unbalances your gut microbiome. I mean, that is one of the biggest things. A lot of teenagers are put on harsh antibiotics and harsh things for acne, or teenagers are being put on birth control pills to control menstrual issues. And acne and menstrual issues are a gut issue. So once you can start peeling the onion and figuring out what's going on, and not go into those harsh things that, if you're a teenager and you are put on harsh antibiotics, then, probably by the time you're 30, you're going to start seeing some kind of autoimmune issue. And so it's not something, we sit in a time of, well, I'm just going to do this because it's quick. We live in a microwave mentality, and that easy button that I'm just going to take the antibiotic because it's quick and then I'll be able to move on. But the reality of that is yes, it's quick. It removes all the bacteria. So you're left with nothing good. So if you're young and you have that ability to reproduce cells quickly and everything, and you're relatively healthy, then these issues are not going to start showing up until later in life. And then you're going, wow, what happened? It's kind of like me when my daughter was diagnosed, because I was very healthy. I led a very healthy lifestyle up till that point. Then 3 years later, I'm sitting in the doctor's office crying because I'm so heavy, my blood pressure is high, and I'm pre-diabetic. And I'm like, wow, what happened? I didn't know then what I know now. All I knew was that I didn't want to take medication. So, it's one of those things, pay attention. We have signals, we have symptoms for a reason. When you get a symptom, it doesn't mean your body's messing up. It just means that it's trying to tell you something. Your body is working perfectly because it is getting the signal that, hey, something's wrong. So hello, your health is calling. The whole topic of my show. So again, we want to be mindful. We want to listen to our body. Don't be part of the 70% that drives around with the check engine light on. Or, if that doesn't resonate with you, how about the gas light? How many times does your gas light go on and you're like, oh, I can gamble. I've got 20 miles. It's like it's a gamble. We gamble with our cars. We gamble with our lives. So I'm going to conclude. I'll wrap it up. And there are definitely things that you can do if you're starting to feel like stress is taking over. Get in touch with me. Support at Hello, Your Health is Calling. Sue at symmetryhealthandwellness.com. My website, symmetryhealthandwellness.com. Also, please like and subscribe to this YouTube. If you're watching this live and you're not on YouTube, go over to YouTube. It's on the Reinvented Life Network, and it's Hello, Your Health is Calling. And if you like and subscribe, that helps me. It helps our network grow, and it'll help you too, because you will see all of the podcasts that come across and you'll get notifications. So thank you so much for joining. It was a lot of information. I tried not to ramble too much. I hope you got something out of this. And remember, if your health is calling, if you have symptoms, that means something and you need to answer. So have a wonderful rest of your day and answer if your health is calling.
Thank you for tuning in to another empowering episode of Hello, Your Health is Calling with Sue Kostyk. Remember, your health journey is ongoing, and we're here to support you every step of the way. If you have any questions, insights, or stories to share, don't hesitate to reach out. You can connect with us on social media or call in live at 888-994-4995 Studio A. Together, we're transforming lives and embracing holistic well-being. Until next time, prioritize your health and remember, your health is calling.